well, hello and welcome to Third Wheel, the show where we discuss anything that we want to talk about, and one person will more likely contribute less to the discussion than the other two. That person will be dubbed the Third Wheel, and the other two will proceed to make fun of that person. And spoiler alert, that person will most likely be Brandon. How are you guys doing today?
Not fair. That's not fair to say.
I think that's perfectly valid. It's a really great argument.
I'm gonna dedicate this whole entire adventure to proving you wrong, Steven.
I think that this entire episode is going to prove how funny this series is going to be.
Alright, well, my name is Steven, and I am your host for today. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Brandon. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello.
and Grace. Say hello, Grace.
What a lengthy intro, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon, we don't care. We sassed you for one word, man. You don't have to start proving your point right away, dude.
Don't
worry about it. We'll be proved right even more in the future, so don't dwell on it now.
Okay. Alright, okay.
This is true. Alright, well, today we have quite the interesting conversation for the rest of you listening. It's we're talking about, high school drama, especially high school dances. We all have those and we all dread those. We all have some interesting stories for that. But just, before we get into that, just want to do, some small talk. How was your guys' day? Let me in on some details. How's life going?
Fantastic. Got an early start to the day,
What does that mean?
Sure. It means that my day was better than Brandon's.
How could you know that?
Okay, what have you done with your day? I do not take naps.
You just did this morning. Probably.
I like to rest my eyes.
But you said you took a nap. I quote from you, literally talking about this earlier. You said that you had the best nap you've ever had this morning.
Okay, I don't know how valid your argument is, considering you just don't want to be the third wheel, but moving on.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
I don't think she ever said
You literally told both me and Steven. No. Okay. Well,
I don't recall.
I've been sitting down on my computer most of the morning, just kind of chilling, just relaxing, because it's Saturday, but...
Yeah, until we wanted to start recording for the podcast, and then you were busy.
I had to eat lunch, Steven. I had to get my fuel for the day. Okay.
You're saying that putting food in your body is more important than entertaining the people listening?
I think it's important in order to entertain the people listening, because how am I going to entertain them if I die of starvation?
I just think you're selfish.
You just be funnier, Brandon. I don't know what to say.
Death by starvation's funny.
Yeah. Just eat, bro.
I give the people what they want.
I did eat, and you gave me crap for it.
Yeah, because the people don't want you to eat. They want food, dude. It's good to know that your mornings were somewhat productive. Other than Brandon.
How was your morning, Steven? Okay, you know what, Steven? How was your morning, Steven? What did you do?
Well, I woke up today, and I taught little girls how to play Siaker. Just a casual morning. And then, spent 2 hours in Walmart trying to figure out how to clone a key when they didn't have a key cloner there. I stared at, the dog tag making thing for, a solid 15 minutes trying to figure out how to clone my goddamn key. Yeah, it was a really embarrassing moment for me.
Wow.
But thank you for asking, Brandon. Yeah, and then I got back here. I was ready to do some podcast work, but then someone had to eat some food, and I had to sit and wait for them to finish eating.
That sounds excruciating. I'm sorry you had to sit through that.
That was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me, yeah?
I think that the only thing that's worse than that is what happened to Brandon freshman year. Homecoming.
It's quite the story that I've been told that I can only be told with your voice and not over text. And I'm very intrigued.
It's a lot. It's a lot to unpack.
Well, we have time.
All right.
Wait to hear your homecoming story, sir.
Am I starting the conversation then?
No, we just introduced that just to start with someone else.
I know, I just didn't want to be rude, okay? I was being considerate. Okay then, well, so yeah, freshman homecoming. Yeah, okay, so, little context, I'm very much introverted, and my social skills are, I'm very socially inept.
Fucking.
Yeah. And unfortunately, just kind of, just starting high school and stuff, I was unfortunate enough to just kind of be, pressured into thinking, oh, freshman homecoming, I need to ask someone to freshman homecoming. And, I could have gone with friends, but I just really was in that mindset of needing to ask someone and needing to go with someone. So,
Sure.
okay. So, basically, the way the school I went to before high school, it was a K through 8 school out of elementary through middle school, pretty much. So the people that I graduated with in middle school, we've all known each other as classmates for quite some time. So freshman year, that's pretty much who I determined I would have the best chances of getting a homecoming date with. So, first person I asked, sometime after middle school graduation, I was talking to this one girl. We will call her Kay. Yeah, we'll call her Kay. I got her phone number after graduation, after like a graduation party thing, and we just kind of played, phone games and stuff. And we just kind of talked, and she brought up the conversation of just kind of the topic of homecoming and stuff. And again, very inept social skills. So, and yeah, freshman year Brandon was very. I don't know what kind of mindset he was in at the time, but as we were talking about homecoming, I was like, you know what? We're talking about it. This would be a great opportunity to ask her if you would like to go with me. So, kind of slyly, I go, are you going? So, are you going with anyone to homecoming? And she replies, no. I'm like, well, would you be interested in going with me? And, literally, the text she sends back is, ha ha. And I go, huh? And and then after that, she said, "You're funny," and I'm like, "What do you mean I'm funny?" And she literally thought I was joking, and she's like, and I said, "Oh, I was just, wondering if I wanted to go homecoming." She's like, "Oh, I'm actually going with friends," so that was really awkward, and needless to say, yeah, it was just very awkward. And yeah, she literally thought I was joking. But
Hate to tell you this, but when women play off the you're so funny, you do not think that you're joking. I'm sorry to break it to you, buddy. I think that's what makes this story even more tragic.
Yeah.
Tragedy it is.
Before we move on to the next part of the story, just some more context.
I'm glad that
in middle school,
I was gonna be kind of pissed if that was
no, there's so much more to this story.
Good.
Oh my god. Okay, so just for some more context, I'm a normal child. I had a middle school crush. I'll call her S.
An S. Ooh. Spicy.
Getting the full alphabet out here. Brendan's really showing that he's got O's in the bag.
I had a crush on her in middle school, and we kept in touch. I had her number beforehand, so we just kind of talked every now and then. And in freshman year, after kind of basically after 8th grade graduation, I kind of came to terms with the fact that it wasn't really wasn't really like feasible in my mind. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. So I kind of came to terms with it. But then after asking Kay to homecoming and that not working out, she actually suggested, "Oh, you should ask F." And I was like, "Okay, you know what? I will. I will do that." And so literally, I think I was walking in a Rayleigh's store, and uh, the way I ended up asking in there was just beforehand. Like, my dad had picked me up, and we were driving home. We had to run to the store, and just kind of during that car ride there, that's how I kind of started bringing up the topic of homecoming with S. And
your speech skill is 100.
yeah, that was the strategy, was just bring up homecoming, and then just kind of slowly, like, slippery slope that into like me asking. I wanted to keep the flow of the conversation going, and I just happened to have to do this like while I went into the store with my dad. Literally, I was just walking down an aisle, and I asked, like, "Oh, were you planning on going to your homecoming?" Like, because she went to a different high school, so I asked her, "Were you planning on going to your homecoming?" And she said, "Oh, I wasn't sure." She said she wasn't sure. And I was like, "Okay, well, would you be interested in going to my homecoming with me?" And yeah, and like I said, because I don't really put myself out there, I asked this in the middle of the store, and I literally, like, as soon as I hit send, my knees got really they just kind of gave out. My dad didn't notice. He kind of just kept walking. What did I do? I just did that. And there's just kind of a couple minutes. There's a solid couple minutes of silence, and my heart's just kind of, it's, it wasn't like, it was just complete, just stress. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I was way more stressed out than I should have been, probably, but.
You just bared your soul to this woman. Of course you were stressed.
So she responds, and he says, "Oh, I'll have to ask my parents first, but sure." So I'm like,
we love the confident answer she gave.
yeah,
Girl boss.
yeah. So me being my naive self, I just took that as a yes. I was not even thinking about the way she just said it, and inevitably, like 5 minutes later, she's like, "Oh yeah, my parents said no, like, and yeah, maybe next time," or something like that. But I think the worst part of it was we just never talked again after that. Like, we just.
Oh
no.
I think that you should reach out to her right now. You want to go to homecoming with me? Whatever letter of the alphabet she is, do you want to go homecoming with me right now?
Whatever name you gave her. Well, I mean, this can be a forward declaration. S, if you're out there listening right now and you know that you are the recipient of this story, I want you to message Brandon right now.
Give him the
I'm
homecoming
really
he never
sorry.
got.
The story's not over yet. Oh, it gets even worse, believe it or not. So after that, I was pretty devastated. So I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to. I'm just not going to try it right now. And I noticed that some of my friends that I had graduated 8th grade with, they got date stuff. homecoming, and
Mhm.
they were really wanting me to get a date to homecoming, and I was like, I don't know. There was another girl that I was kind of in, like, I did not message her nearly as often as I did K and S. We'll call her E. Um,
Are you deciding each letter?
He's got a list up. He's got a random alphabet.
He's ready.
I have a system.
He's got a system.
But so one of my friends who already had a date, he's like, you know what? These last two girls you've asked over text. You should ask this one over the phone. You should call her and ask over the phone.
As you should.
And
These people are legends.
and my oh 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 god, okay. And again, like I said, our conversations, my conversations with you were just very limited, and I didn't even know how to begin to ask if I could like call like without making it awkward. Again, with me being introverted and stuff, I did way overthink things more than I needed to. But
Sure.
so basically, I kind of worked my way around to like getting to the point of asking her, "Hey, do you have a few minutes to call?" without trying to be like, weird about it. And he was like, in text, he's like, "Oh, okay, sure. I just need a few minutes or something like that." And oh wait, hold on. Is that how? Oh, I remember now. Okay, so um, so I wasn't sure if like she was gonna call or if I was supposed to call, so I waited a few minutes. So then I was like, okay, it's been a few minutes. I'm not hearing anything. I'll call her. I'll call her. I call her. Little brother picks up the phone. He's like, who is this? And he said, oh, hey bud, can I talk to your sister, please? And he's like, oh, she's busy right now. And I was like, oh, okay, well, can you tell her to call me back when she can? And he's like, oh, no, I'll just wait for her to be done. So we just kind of sat in silence for a few minutes.
Bro, he was trying to keep you away from her prepubescent cock blocker.
Oh,
You know that E was just sitting across the room, just like, don't let him pick up. Just do something else. Don't give him the phone. Don't let him talk to you.
100%. That's what's happening. And so, yeah, a few minutes, and then I kind of hear shuffling on the other end, and then finally she says hi.
That's it.
And she says sorry for being busy and stuff. Like she said she had some stuff she had to take care of. I was like, oh yeah, it's no problem. Like that, I'm good. So then, yeah, then she says, so what's up? And I'm like, so we had been texting about homecoming before, so I said, oh, like, what are your plans for homecoming and stuff like that? Again, using the strategy again that
What a
I've been
smooth
using these last
The sweet, loving charisma.
yeah.
Love the confidence.
So then I'm like, and this is 100 times worse because I'm actually like live, like talking, like speaking. This isn't me writing over text. I'm much better at writing or forming words when I'm writing or typing rather than actually talking.
Sure.
So it was a train wreck. But I eventually got the words out like, oh, would you be interested in going to homecoming with me? And just it's dead silent for a solid like 10 seconds. Like it was only 10 seconds, but it was a very long 10 seconds. And she understandably did the whole um can I call you back real quick?
Like, that doesn't even answer in itself. That's so tragic.
Oh no.
She hangs up the phone, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, oh, and like, I'm dead inside at this point. Like, I just did not know what to think about it, and so it was like 15 minutes went by, and I finally get a text from her. I see her name pop up on my phone, so I open it, and it's a paragraph.
Oh no.
Oh my god, why couldn't she just say no?
And
Because she has to
it wasn't
emphasize.
it wasn't anything bad, but it was basically a very long way of saying that she would rather not and that she was gonna go with friends and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I'm I oh like so yeah. After that, I was just I was done before, but I was done now. Like I was so done. Like I have never felt more just shame when like it, obviously like I know the way I went about things, but like it was bad. So then it was like that. I was in that mindset for a solid a few days, and I think just yeah, after a few days, E texted me again, just kind of saying, "Oh, hey, I this is another person from our class, and we'll call her C."
Oh
Oh,
my god.
so E texted me kind of just out of the blue, like just like a few days afterwards, like, "Hey, I know C is looking to go to homecoming with someone. You should ask her." And I was like, oh, and I told her like, oh, I don't know, I'm, I, I, I don't really like, yeah, yeah,
Exactly that. Those
and
were your exact words.
like I didn't know what to say because I was just, like I said, it was 3 times in a row that was just absolute brain wreck, and I was not ready, and I was like, I appreciate it. I'll need to think about it though. You know, yeah. And so she gave me her number. E gave me C's number, and apparently, yeah. I'll explain my thoughts on this after I finish this part of the story. But basically, E also obviously gave C my number because C actually texted me first, which is like, hey, what's going on and stuff. And it wasn't too much after. It wasn't like too much after my birthday. So she just said, oh yeah, like hi, yeah, hi, happy belated birthday, stuff like that. And I was like, oh thanks and stuff. And we just kind of talked a little bit, but that was kind of it. We just kind of talked a little bit, like a little bit every day until eventually like.
I guess you asked her what she was doing for
No.
homecoming.
No. This one went about a little bit differently because
well,
I
because
didn't
all the other
put.
things didn't work. So.
Yeah, I didn't. I was not nearly as motivated. I just didn't really put in a lot of effort. I was just kind of just talking.
Every girl's dream.
I know exactly. I
Or
was.
C, am I right?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of let things play out how they were meant to play out. Like I was actually dead inside. And then finally, E like texted a few of her friends, and her friends started messaging me. It was like, hey, you need to ask C. Like you need to ask to see like right now. Like you need
I
to
love how they're not encouraging her to ask you.
Well, because
all
that's
man.
not how it works. It
And-
obviously has to be the guy who does it.
I'm
So,
saying
yeah.
she's the reason feminism isn't bigger. She's single-handedly killing the feminist movement. Thanks a lot, C.
Oh, so yeah. So then just one day after high school classes were over, I was sitting in the learning commons with a group of people that I knew. Some of them were friends, some of them were just acquaintances, but we were just kind of sitting. We were sitting in a group, and I had kind of mentioned that, yeah, I was being, told to ask to go to homecoming, and they were trying to like hype me up to do it, and some of them were aware of the tragedies that happened beforehand, so they were really trying their best to encourage me, and I appreciate that. But so yeah, I'm just kind of sitting down. I was like, okay, you know what? Like and this time, C was the one who brought up the topic of homecoming, and like obviously trying to set a stage for me to ask her. And
Obviously.
yeah, yeah, so it was like, so I asked her, oh, well, were you gonna go with anyone to homecoming? Because I knew the answer, and I just had to figure out a way to,
You had to
kind of
talk your way in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So she's like, oh.
Personally, I think you should have played hard to get. You should have been like, oh yeah, I'm going with another girl. What about you? What are you doing?
Oh. Well, yeah.
He's like, I'm going with E, actually. Confused every single person there.
Trust me, if I was having that much of a struggle asking someone to homecoming, there was no way I would have been able to confidently just play that off. Anyway, so I asked her, yeah, are you planning on going to homecoming with anyone? And she said, yeah. I knew the answer was going to be no, and she said no. And she said, what about you? And I said, well, actually, I was wondering if you would like to go to homecoming with me. And it's this whole thing where I'm just sitting there, and literally my friend group was just kind of huddled around me, just waiting for the answer. Keep in mind, this is.
Just sit back and wait for the next paragraph.
This is in the learning commons. It's generally supposed to be quiet, but basically, she texts back yes! ! And I'm like flipping out, and everyone around me is like screaming and stuff, and to the point where the supervising teacher's like, calm down. And then like he's like, what is happening right now? And then one of my friends was like, oh, someone just this man just got a date to homecoming, and he's like, oh, cool. I need you to keep it down though.
This man's just scored.
And then afterwards, this is when I kind of started to realize how fabricated this was, because literally, I think like 10 minutes after that whole thing, he was like, oh, you should tell your friend to, we'll call my friend A. Basically, he was like, oh, you should tell A to ask out, or ask my friend, like, to homecoming or whatever, and basically she kind of told me to tell my other friends to ask these certain people like that she knew or were friends with the homecoming, and then they did, and they said yes, and so we all kind of went as a group. But looking back, I just kind of understand now how fabricated that was, and honestly, if there's any lesson to be learned from this, it's just that, it's totally okay to go with friends, because I think that would have been a better experience for me rather than just being that pressured to ask people and just being that, like, because that genuinely took such a big mental toll on me. And
B and C are together in the alphabet, and that's how it ended up at homecoming.
Yeah.
Together, man.
I would also like to mention after that, I didn't talk to E again after that, and I never talked to C again after that.
I think that's the best.
Like the night after homecoming, that was.
This was all prior to the dance.
E and C, if you're out there listening, we would love to hear your take on this story. How much is Brandon fabricating? How much is true?
We would love to hear the mastermind plan that Brandon was a pawn of.
the actual dance was alright. Like I said, I think the group of us just kind of went out to like a BJ's and ate there, and we did pictures and stuff, and then like, literally the group did like literally like my friends. We danced in a group, and then C and her friends just kind of danced in a group. Like we didn't talk to each other pretty much the entire dance, except for like the slow dance, and then it was kind of like I mean, because we went together, so we just slow danced together, and that was pretty much all we really talked like or interacted with each other. So yeah, oh my man, yeah.
Oh my Atlanta.
Let's see your first slow dance, Brandon.
She was not much for a slow dance,
You
actually.
cheated, you cheated on her before the dance. How could you?
Oh no, my first slow dance actually I think was in 7th grade, and that was not one I did not do the asking. It was because the chaperones at that dance. It was just like a school dance. It was
I
like
hate when they're so
very
nosy and they want to play
um
matchmaker.
yeah, it was a very just kind of small like class dance basically. It was like 7th and 8th graders, and
Middle school
basically
dances are gross,
the
honestly.
the
It's
chaperones
disgusting.
the chaperones kept telling the girls to ask the guys to slow dance, and one of those girls just happened to pick me. But so that was my
Just
first slow
happened
dance,
to,
and um, I can tell you about the first time I asked someone to dance with me. That was horrible as well. Not nearly as horrible as freshman homecoming, but it was not great.
Absolutely.
This was at an 8th grade cotillion. So basically, yeah, the cotillion was held. I don't know how often it was held. I'd only gone to one, I think, or maybe two. But basically, it was like pretty much upper middle school kids, like pretty much 8th grade, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I went because again, my school was very like, hey, you guys should do this for the experience and stuff. You should go to dances and stuff. We're like, okay. So I went to this one. It was like the second to last cotillion or something, and instead of it just being a strictly our school going, it was other. Because I went to a Catholic school,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just other like Catholic schools around the area, and basically, yeah. So it was all in this kind of bigger gymnasium, and yeah, just like a regular dance. And basically, the slow dance comes on, like the first slow dance of the night comes on, and me and a few other of my friends are just kind of standing awkwardly to the side. We didn't know what to do. We're just like, yeah, we're just gonna chill here and pretend to be cool, even though we're just completely awkward standing there. Uh, and well, of course, another chaperone just of that dance just kind of walked over to us and was like, "What are you guys doing? Why aren't you slow dancing?" We're like, "Oh, we're just kind of chilling." Like, and literally just absolutely lied to our face. Was like, "Oh, well, those group of girls over there, I think they want to dance with you or something like that. You should ask them." Then my oh oh yeah, my very naive self was like, "Oh, you know what? This adult man is telling me this, so and he's a chaperone, so he must be right. I'm gonna listen."
Absolutely.
So me and one of my friends walk up to this group of girls, and we're like, and we ask an individual girl like, "Hey, would you like to slow dance with us?" And she, or I don't know how it went for my friend. I don't think it worked out for him either. But uh, basically, when I asked this particular girl, she was like, "Oh, she did the whole um, I'll I won't dance with you this one, but I'll dance with you the next slow dance." And I was like, "Okay." And again, me being very naive was like, "Okay, I got a slow dance for the next slow dance." Skip through the entire in between normal dances and stuff like that. Second slow dance comes on. I'm trying to find this girl that I asked to slow dance, and It takes me a solid few minutes, and I finally do. But she is slow dancing with someone else, and I just absolutely defeated. Just go back to the side, and I just am staying absolutely as far away from that one adult chaperone as I could because I just was gonna explode on it.
You liar!
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, like I said, not nearly as bad as freshman homecoming, but
Absolute
yeah.
betrayal of it all.
yeah,
Magic.
yeah. My track record of early childhood dances was not good.
It seems pretty good to me. I don't know.
Personally, I can't relate. You know, I'm a girl. Dances are very difficult for me. I feel like they're way harder for men, and like the asking, like to dance, to go to a dance, and whatever aspect. I never really had to struggle with. Brandon and I actually grew up in the same area, and so we went to the same dances and cotillions without ever actually meeting, which I found really, really cool. We did not meet until halfway through high school. But I remember there was this guy, call him Adam, because his name was Adam, and I hate him. But he asked me to dance, and he was the only guy who's ever asked me to dance. Like, other than like my friend, but like he just like didn't have anybody else to dance with. So like, but it was obvious we were friends, not because he picked me. No, this was a different friend, and this was before I even knew Brandon. This might have been like 8th grade, I think. But essentially, he asked me to dance, and he called me cute like 7 times, and I was like, "It's the weirdest compliment, you know? Calling a girl cute like just makes you feel like you're a child. It's so weird. Like, say I'm pretty, say I'm beautiful. Saying you're cute is like weird. It's like I'm not a chihuahua, but
Well, fucking annoying. It's what they are.
I just remember, like, we talked for, like, quite a bit after that dance. Like, it's not like we were planning on dating or anything, but we talked, like, over the phone. We played video games together, and Adam, if you ever hear this, please unadd me on Steam. I don't have the balls to do it myself. I just remember, I remember freshman year, one of my friend's boyfriends thought it would be so funny to hit up this man that I have not talked to in like 2-3 years and just message him out of the blue. And he was like, "Hey, is this Adam?" He's like, "Yeah, who the hell is this?" He's like, "Hi, my name's Carter. We met at Cotillion, you know? You're kind of tall, you had dark, like, black hair, you had glasses." And he's like, "What the hell is happening right now?"
I'm confused. He introduced himself by describing the person he was talking to.
Yeah, he's like, because he didn't remember him. He's like, "Yeah, I don't remember giving my number to anyone other than girls." And I was like, "Girls, plural." Mr. Ladies Man over here was talking to more than just me. My middle school self was shook in that moment. But yeah. So essentially, he's like, "You don't remember me? My name's Carter. This is what you looked like. You gave me your number because you thought I was super cool." And he's like, "I don't remember that at all, but the fact that you mentioned Cotillion makes me believe you." Not the fact that he got his description down perfectly, just the fact that he mentioned Cotillion. Oh my, I was laughing so hard the rest of the day. He's like, "Do you want to play video games later or something?" And it was just so awkward and so weird, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this man has the same number."
That's gotta
Just made me feel so weird. Yeah, no, Adam, if you're out there, please unadd me on Steam. I'm tired of seeing what you're playing, and I really don't care. But anyway, on to my homecoming story. That was just Cotillion. That was middle school days. That doesn't even count. Okay. Like I said, Brandon and I went to the same high school, and so when Brandon was going through his tragedy, this is what I was going through. This was before we even knew each other.
Well, Brandon was suffering.
Okay, so I don't know. I just thought I was built different. I was one of those girls that was like, I don't even want to go to homecoming. Like, we should just do something else. Like, let's go bowling. Let's do an escape room. Like, let's not even go. I was one of those girls. And so essentially, I wasn't planning on going, but like I said, the couple I'd mentioned earlier, my friend and her boyfriend, they were already planning on going. And they're like, well, no, you should go. It's going to be really fun. And I was like, I don't know. I'll think about it, but probably not. So, like, fast forward to 2 days later, this guy who we'll call Jaden, because he's not actually a terrible person. So we'll protect his identity.
Good job. Way to be mediocre.
Yeah, no spiciness there. Jaden, he asked me out by my locker, and he made me, like, this personalized card. He did a drawing, and he did, like, what I can only, like, imagine is, like, a rap. It's not even poetry. It was, like, a picture of him rapping, like, with lyrics, asking me to homecoming, and there was Starbursts attached to it, which is pretty much the only cool way I ever got asked to homecoming, ever. But, essentially, I was like, yeah, I don't know him very well, but I know he's cool. He's, like, a sweet kid. Sure, why not? Everybody I know is already out. Like, everybody else that I already know is going, so, like, why not? So I'm like, yeah, sure, like, thank you for the card. This is really sweet. Didn't know this at the time, but he only gave me pink Starbursts, and those are my favorite. So I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, I will.
Man.
Actually put some effort.
But, so yeah, like I said, this was like a week left till homecoming, right? So it's like a countdown of like, okay, now I need to get a dress, now I need to do whatever. And so, naturally, all my friends and I were like the type to stay like at least 20, 30 minutes after school because we had to like carpool so far, and this is before any of us could drive. So essentially, it's that couple I told you about and Jaden, me. And so we're talking about homecoming, what we're going to do, et cetera, et cetera. And the cutoff for tickets is like 2 days from now. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, I need to buy my ticket soon. And he says, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I already bought your ticket. I'm like, what? Wait, what? I'm confused because, like, I don't know. It was just something we never discussed. We never talked about it. Just... I don't know. Like, it was just really weird. We had never talked about it. It was never something we discussed, and so it made me feel really weird. Like, I appreciated it, but, like, I don't know. I kind of would have preferred to have done it myself. I don't know why. But essentially, my friend is like, you're absolutely crazy. Like, what's wrong with you? He's just being nice. Like, why are you freaking out? It's not a big deal. I was like, yeah, I don't know. And I talked to my mom, my sister about it, and they're like, yeah, you're just weird. Like what's wrong with you? Literally being nice. Like, he's being a good date. And I was like, okay, well, all right then. Flash forward, I literally got my dress day of because I procrastinated for so long. Shout out JCPenney. Because I remember he bought me a corsage, but like I hadn't picked out my dress yet, so he didn't know which color to buy. So my friend reached out and asked, and I said, I don't know. I'm literally like panic buying a dress right now. I haven't decided yet. And so she told him white because men, white goes with everything. When in doubt, go with white or black. But last time I checked, I don't think black corsages are a thing. So he got me a white bouquet, or like not a bouquet, whatever, corsage.
Mhm.
And so like, yeah, I'm all done up and I get there, and honestly, I don't know what made this like come on, but I like waited in the parking lot for like 20 minutes because like out of nowhere I was beyond stressed out. I was like panicking for no reason whatsoever. Like, I finally, like, gained the confidence. I got out of the car, and I waited. Granted, he was texting me throughout this. He's like, hey, where you at? Like, get in line, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, okay, whatever. So once I passed that, they're like, okay, well, what's your name? And I'm like, my name's, Grace. Insert last name. And, and essentially, they're like, we don't see a ticket under your name. like, oh, okay, no, it's under my date's name then. And I was like, it's Jaden last name. They were like, yeah, no, there's no extra ticket there. He already claimed his ticket and he's inside. I was like, that motherfucker. There's everybody thought I was crazy. I did not get into the dance that night, and so essentially I had to sit outside in the cold for like 30 minutes and wait for my mom to pick me up because I live far away from my high school. I live really far away. And my mom had already left and the line took so long that like she had already gotten home. So essentially she has to drive all the way back to pick me up, right? So and then I'm almost home. So granted, this is like an hour and a half has passed. I spent a half hour in line, half hour waiting for my mom to pick me up, and like a half hour back home until my friend's boyfriend rings me up and I'm like, hello, and they're like, hey, we got you in, like we talked to somebody, they're gonna let you in. And I'm like, oh, the dance is about to end, it's gonna take another half hour to drive out there, like 2 hours of this dance is already passed, like I'm not gonna be there for like an hour, like what's the point, like most of the night's already over. You know, like pictures are gone. Everybody's like kind of taking off their shoes and their makeup's running, whatever. Like I'm not gonna get the pictures I want, etc. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not going all the way back. And so I went home and I watched Annie, which in hindsight was probably not the happiest movie to watch. And then yeah, I just remember being hella salty the next day when I saw everybody's pictures. But I think what really sent me over the edge is I saw this other girl wearing the exact same dress I would have worn had I gone. And so, yeah. But ever since then, I have never, ever worn a dress from, like, JCPenney's or Macy's. Like, I've always gone to, like, these secondhand high-end stores of, like, dresses will never see anywhere else because I wanted to wear something different and I would never like match anybody else. But yeah, no, everybody thought I was crazy because I thought it was weird that somebody else bought my ticket for me. But yeah, I didn't get in because apparently he never bought the ticket or they never marked down that he had a second one or whatever. So I was just really, really salty. Didn't even get to go to homecoming my freshman year.
So while Brandon was scrounging around for everything, you were just chilling outside.
I really was. I was literally sitting in the cold, and I remember that my religion teacher, because it was a Catholic high school that we went to. His name was Mr. Guro. He was my teacher for religion freshman year. He sat outside with me because I wasn't allowed to be alone on school property, so he was just kind of like, how's class going? And I was like, bro, I'm about to like lose my shit right now. I don't need you to ask me how class is going. You know my grade. Don't try me. Oh my god, it was such an awkward experience. And then never talked again after that. Like, it was really weird. Because, like, for, like, solid 2 years after, he would, like, send the occasional, like, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, etc., but, like, nothing in between. Like, we never talked in person ever again. We never really made eye contact. We never addressed it. We never talked about it. And so I felt really bad that I didn't go back. But, like, at the same time, I was like, I don't even know if it's worth it to go back. So part of me feels bad because, like, it kind of can be viewed as, like, I ditched him. But it's, like, at the same time, I literally just didn't have a ticket after you told me you bought me one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Freshman homecoming hit different, man. I don't know. I don't know. What about you?
Well,
What happened to you, Steven?
My dance story is quite the doozy. I don't know, it's not necessarily on the it's not on the side of, you know, scavenging for a date like Brandon or, you know, not being allowed to go. But just for some context, I was talking to this one girl. I'm gonna refer to her as ah. So I'm talking to ah.
Wait, wait, what? Repeat that again.
I'm referring to her as ah.
Okay, fair enough. Go off.
Yeah, ah. So I was talking
Okay.
to ah, and we had been hanging out for a while. Been doing a bunch of different things. Um, she did sports, I did sports, and then we both like doing outdoor stuff.
Instant
Especially
connection right
off-roading.
there.
So we were doing a lot of things, right? So, and
Right.
then the dance is coming up and whatnot, and I was just like, hey, if would you want to go? Just because it would be cool to go. And she was just like, yeah, sure, that would be great.
Oh.
And I was just like, dude, that's awesome. Well, go ahead, get ready and working things out. And I was going with, the rest of the boys and their dates and whatnot. And we were planning out everything, and it seemed like everything was gonna be normal. Hence the word
Yeah.
"seem," because everything from here stops being so happy, and
No.
so what ends up happening is that halfway through everything, I'm hanging out with and we're like becoming real good friends, real close friends. But it's just like that was pretty much the extent of that. There was nothing else. There was nothing else there. We were just becoming really good friends. But I was also talking to this one girl, who I will call Dub. So I'm talking to Dub, but that was more of a for like a relationship kind of purpose. Talking to Dub, I was just like, yeah, no, it's super interested and whatnot, and talking to her a bunch of other things. And she wasn't planning on going to the dance at all. She didn't want to go to the dance, and so I was just like, all right, well that's good because yeah, I already have a date. not gonna ask you or anything. Just like going with one of my friends who wanted to go with me. So just it's a good thing. You don't want to go to the dance, and then all of a sudden, like, one of her best friends is convincing her, just like, hey, you should go to the dance, and you should see if Steven will take you. And I learned about all this, and I was just like, fuck my life, bro.
Oh.
Oh my god. So I'm sitting there, and I'm making plans with the rest of the guys, and I'm with and we're figuring out all these other things. And then partway through, I'm like super interested in this girl, and really want to date this girl. And so I'm talking to her, and then like maybe about a month, like a week actually. It was like relatively quickly, before the dance. Like, I asked her out, and I was just like, yeah, I know you don't want to go to the dance, but I also just wanted to see if you would like to go out sometime and whatnot. And she said yes, and I was like, dude, that's super cool. But then all of a sudden, she starts getting all this stuff ready to go to the dance, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
What?
whoa. I thought you weren't going to the dance. What's going on here? And she was just like, well, yeah, I'm gonna
Oh.
go with a couple of friends because they wanted me to go and whatnot. And I was just like, all right, well, do you want do you want me to cancel on like I don't understand what's going on here. And she was like, no, it's fine, like, I really don't care, you guys have these plans and whatnot, it's totally cool. And I was like, dude, that honestly, that's probably the best answer I could have gotten, because I didn't want to just be like, so
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so I'm dating Dub now. Bye, and then just not do anything. And so we were able to work out that situation. But for the entire week leading up to the dance, I'm sitting there just like every single day, and in class, I'm just like, I'm really uncomfortable in my own skin. Everything right now is making me incredibly uncomfortable. I am not enjoying myself. And they were, and like, my class, is a favored class amongst my high school, because I don't know why. It's just we had more school spirit or something, and all the other classes are just rambunctious children. So we like we had a lot of like things that were given to us, and one of the things in particular was we got this like special lunch or whatnot, and everyone's talking about dates and whatnot, and homecoming, and just the dance and whatnot. And and one of my friends asked me about what was going on, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm going with and and like suddenly all heads in the room felt like they turned and looked at me when,
Oh.
when I was just like, yeah, what? And one of my closest friends was just like, why aren't you going with Dub? And I was like, well, I already had these plans beforehand. Um, didn't know that
Dude.
she was going to dance.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I don't know, man. Like that's just how it is. I feel douchier to dip out on because I'm dating someone now than I do the other way around. Like no matter what, I feel really
mean-
uncomfortable in my skin right now, and I had no idea what decision to make. And I've been asking a bunch of people, just like, bro, help me out, man. I don't understand
Oh my
what to
God.
do here. I asked like a bunch of people, and everyone else was just like, you know what? I guess you picked the poison that won't kill you that quick. It'll take longer to kill you.
Just to clarify, Dub was also going to the dance, right?
Dub was going to the dance, but she was going because her friends wanted her to go. And after.
Okay, did you
after
tell
the
her?
fact- Oh yeah, no, she was fully aware.
Oh, okay. As long,
Okay,
I think that you
yeah.
made the
Yeah.
right decision.
But
Like, I mean,
here's
It's because you started dating someone. It is kind of shitty to flake if you made plans with somebody else, because that's
right.
crappy. I think if you communicate this with the person you just started dating, which it seems like you did, I think you made the right decision. She didn't really want to go to the dance in the first place. You said, like, hey, I already asked this other girl, and I don't want to ruin the night for her, etc. I don't know. Like, that's a really shitty position to be in, but I think you made the right decision.
Right. And after the dance, or well, I should say during the dance, I figured out why she was convinced to go to the dance. So, yeah, it wasn't like I was hiding the fact that I was hanging out with a lot. Like we were doing a lot of things. We were doing a lot of stuff outside of school. We were hanging out a lot, and I would occasionally talk about it and post about it and whatnot. Just moments that I was doing there, and other things, commenting on posts and whatnot. And so it was well aware that like I was hanging out with a lot. And so we get to like the day of the dance, and like everyone's getting ready and whatnot. And I was talking to Dub, and I was like, "Hey, well, I can help you get ready and whatnot if you want." And she was like, "Oh no, it's fine." And I was like, "All right, okay, cool. Then I'll see you later. I'll try. I'll see if I can get a slow dance with you or whatnot. But priority lies with for right now." And we took pictures and whatnot and everything, and it was fun night. Whatnot. But what was really funny is that I let one of the boys and one of the boys take charge of where we went and whatnot, and that was kind of a mistake because we went to, I don't know if you guys know the Fox in downtown Carson City, but it's a smaller restaurant, and I emphasize small because it's one of those like small, like really tiny buildings off the freeway, off the main road from downtown. It's one of those really tiny buildings, and they have like a private room that we were able to rent, but the private room is about like the width of my arms. If I were to reach my arms out, I could almost touch both walls.
My
So
God.
it's a really tiny, thin private room. It's long though, but that meant that we had a party of I think 16, because it was the boys and their dates, and so we had a really big party, and then we like divided up between like two different tables, and it was really awkward because like I'm sitting there with who's not friends with any of these people, like
Oh,
who
no.
only knows them because of that, and I'm doing my best to like keep her engaged and whatnot and talk about other things. But I also was just like, we could totally go do like setup and whatnot with like your friends. I'm totally cool with going to dinner with them because Dylan was actually at dinner with Kayla. And is friends with
Context.
Kayla. So
Probably provide context to who those people are.
Dylan is a close friend of us, and Kayla is his girlfriend. And so Dylan is also Brandon's cousin, and I make fun of him for it. But so Dylan's one of the friends there, and is friends with Dylan's girlfriend, and so I was just like, we can totally go to that. Like, if you wanted to, it's totally a possibility. I'm totally okay with it. And she was like, nah, it's fine. So me thinking, I was just like, all right, well, do you just not like your friends then? Because you're definitely not going to be too engaged with the rest of us over here. And I think, like, what we ended up doing was just, like, messing with Snapchat filters for most of the time. Because the Fox, while it is, a downtown place, it's not great food. Like, it's honestly one of those places where you're just like, I really paid that much for that? Really? Really?
Ugh.
But my mom let me drive around her Mustang. We have I think it's like a 90, like a 91, 92 Mustang, and it's a really nice car. And she let me take it out for tonight, and I was just like, yeah, no, we're driving around, and we all leave the Fox at the same time, and we're all turning into the school, and there's just this lane of all of us like dressed nicely and whatnot, and everything starts to be, still is going all right, like, making sure that everything's fine with her and I's doing all right. So the night's going pretty well. But we get to the dance. We get to the dance, and Dub is there with the rest of her friends. And there's not anything going on, Dub is hanging out with her friends, I make sure that I am around Act for most of the night, and I told I was like, hey, I would like to save a dance for Dub, just because, for all those other things. She's just like, oh yeah, absolutely. Uh, and so
That's cool.
we're at the dance, and we're doing these things, and we have like a slow dance and whatnot. I'm hanging out with her, and she has and has some of her friends there, so she's hanging out with them as well. And what's happening is that apparently, just like every single time she would like go away with some of her friends and whatnot, Dub's friends would be making comments towards her, or indirectly loud enough for her to hear, as far as like, why is she here? Why is she with him? Why are they doing all these things? And a bunch of just, hurtful girl shit. Just a bunch of stuff like that. And honestly, really killing her mood for the night, as she had disappeared like several times, and I'd been, making sure like everything was okay, and she had been like going to the bathroom just to, sit there and get away from everything. And so I had the first slow dance with my second slow dance was with Dub, and there's usually 4 at our dances. And around the time that the third one is about to start, she comes up to me and she's like, I think I'm gonna go. I got friends here to pick me up," and I was like, okay.
Oh,
Uh,
Ugh.
everything okay? And she was like, yeah, it's all good. It was a lot later, and I wanted to be back earlier. But yeah, I found out the reason is because of what all the other girls were doing later, and now it's just like, I see. I understand why they wanted her to be here. They wanted to do that so that I could dance
oh,
with Dub for the rest of the night. I see, and I pieced all of this together. Um, but what was really funny is I had been talking to Dub about that, and I had been talking to my guys about that, and some of the girls, aren't, obviously given their actions as far as like what they did and ruining, as night. What ended up happening was one of those girls, one of their exes was at was at the dance, purely because of the fact that another one of the girls at school was friends with them and invited them and whatnot. And I met this man. I hung out with this guy. He was pretty chill. But I knew from Dub that one of those girls was like trying to dance with this guy. And so what we took the liberty of, as far as being absolutely disgusted by their actions, was one, we kept him as far away from all of them as physically possible, and we engaged with him so much that when she did try to move over here, he just completely ignored her and walked away. And it was probably one of the funniest things that I've ever seen happen, because he was just like, why are you here? Why are you talking to me? I'm gonna go now and just dip. But
It's deserved.
I spent the rest of that night, I was just like, checking up on Ab for the rest of the night, and I was like, well, I guess I can, dance with Dub and whatnot and hang out with Dub. But I also didn't really do that much just because she was surrounded by a bunch of the people that I didn't want to be around. So I did spend most of that night hanging out with the guys. And then I walked out of that and I was just like,
So was Dub a part of this, or was it just her friends?
No, she was not a part of this. She still didn't want to be there. Absolutely still did not want to be at the dance. There were like chairs and everything that were set up, and other than getting up to dance to Country Roads and one other song, she was in those chairs for most of the night. So, and just talking to one of her other non-toxic friends. So yeah, no, she wasn't a part of all of this, but I was sitting there and I walked out of that. And I said goodbye to Dub and whatnot, and I drove home in complete silence. Like, the Mustang had a pretty big speaker, and I was just like, what just happened? What absolutely just happened tonight? I showed up and everything was going good. My date left halfway into the dance. I sat there and hung out with the boys, and figured out all of this stuff was happening. And I had no idea what was going on other than the fact that I knew something was happening. And then, yeah, I walked out of that dance being like, it's probably one of the worst things that's ever happened in general. Not only did I get split ended on a decision that I never wanted to make, but it also ended in probably the worst possible way.
It's just brutal for everybody involved.
Right?
That's a lot to process, too.
I know, right?
Happening in one night.
Exactly. That's why I drove home in silence, purely so I could understand exactly what happened and try to piece together my mind and be like,
was it Dub or one of Dub's friends that wanted to dance with a guy?
One of Dub's friends. It was one of Dub's friends, yeah.
Okay. I misunderstood. I was thinking it was Dub, and I was like, wait a minute.
No.
And then I was like, wait, does that mean she was involved with harassing, or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, no, she was not involved in all of that, and I explained to her what happened, and she took the initiative of not hanging out with those people anymore, and I was super proud of that. We didn't date for much longer after that, though. We didn't date for that much longer, but yeah, no, that was an interesting moment, and definitely one of the high school experiences, dances in general, that I will never forget. Because I've had awkward ones, I've had ones that didn't go so smoothly, but that honestly is just kind of teenage angst as far as how those went down. But that's probably one of the worst instances that has ever happened to me in high school.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like you know, I didn't try at all. I put in zero effort as far as getting there. But then, as soon as that happened, everything else exploded around me.
Yeah.
Everything fell apart. Alright, well, it's time for us to start winding down the episode. We just wanted to take a quick discussion, I said quake, but whatever. I want to take a quick discussion. You should go. Brandon, who do you think the third wheel of the episode was? Story contributed the least, or just didn't seem as important to you. You can vote for yourself. I will allow it.
You can vote for yourself.
I will allow it.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like we all contributed pretty well. I mean, I don't want to vote myself. I will say the only thing I did notice was mine happened over the span of a few weeks. Your guys' happened pretty much within, at least the climactic part happened within a day or two. So, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to short sell myself as far as content wise, but I think as far as just kind of distinguishing, just it was different. My story was different in that aspect, so I'm okay with voting myself, I guess.
Definitely is ironic because this whole episode was tailored to this amazing story you had to tell me. This story that couldn't wait. That could wait until you could actually say it with words instead of texting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brandon putting himself on the chopping block. Chris, how about you? What do you think was the third wheel of the episode?
I think that the third wheel was Brandon, not because it wasn't important or it wasn't funny, but because he was a literal third wheel to homecoming with the girl she went with and all of her friends that managed to scam Brandon's friends into going to the dance.
That's fair.
Well, and at the beginning of the episode, I said, spoiler alert, it would be Brandon, but honestly, I have to hop on the train as well, purely just because of the fact that, what Grace said, that you were just a pawn for a weird romantic game that was going on. You were the gateway so that all of her friends could have relationships with all of your friends.
Yeah.
You were just that.
We're literally just a third wheel on like a giant scale.
But also, to build off of the point that you made, your point was, you spent all of this like over a long period of time, and had all these other things, but I think at the end of the day, you still had a benefit out of the dance, because you still got to go to the dance. It sounded like the dance was pretty okay. It wasn't too bad. It was just everything leading up to the dance made you empty inside. So yeah, definitely you had a lot of tragic events, but everything seemed to work itself to be a tolerable night in the end of it.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
You are this episode's and this series' first ever third wheel. How do you feel?
You are the first ever third wheel of this series, Brandon. How does it make you feel?
I think kind of like you said, just the ironic, I think it's very fitting. I'm okay with this. I'm gonna try not to be the third wheel in the future, though.
You should.
Don't be bad.
This is every episode, man. I'm gonna keep that in the
this is not gonna be the start of a new trend. I will not be the third wheel again.
We'll just have to see next week.
We'll decide your fate later.
Okay.
Anyways, guys, thank you for listening to Third Wheel. We will be trying to upload as frequently as we can and try and get content out every Monday at midnight is when the episodes should drop, as long as I am able to figure out how to work podcasts correctly. Every Monday, midnight, watch it, listen to it, laugh at Brandon like we did today. Any last comments from you guys?
Nothing wrong with third wheels unless you're the third wheel.
Yeah, Brandon.
I disagree. There's just, if it's out of your control, it's out of your control.
And you guys are your takeaways, your advice for people to who are approaching school dances.
Your
own homecoming ticket.
Yeah. Just don't be pressured to get a date for homecoming. Especially during freshman year, it's okay to go with friends. I learned that. I learned it the hard way, but sophomore year I went with a group of friends, and it was not nearly as stressful.
Nearly, he says, nearly.
Not nearly as. Very important distinguishing.
What about you, Steven? What are your last words of wisdom?
I would say my words of wisdom are: if you're interested in a girl, but you have a date to the dance, don't be a douchebag. Stick with the date, but let that girl know that you're interested and you're just waiting, so that hell doesn't break loose while you're trying to enjoy Ed Sheeran singing out loud.
Just subtly imply it. Wait until after the dance, gentlemen. And you can ask her out.
Smooth charisma and chat her up after the fact, and just be like, I really wanted to take you to the dance. Like, I was super interested. I was busy, had all these other girls lining up at my door, and I didn't want to affect the night for you. Yeah, take notes for Brandon's charisma. Really get you places.
Oh my
gosh. Take notes from the third wheel's charisma. Well, other than that, we're signing off for now. Just remember, it's always okay to be the third wheel.